Earnestly podcast coming to you on November 4th, 2021. This is going to be kind of an abbreviated podcast. I'm actually on the road. I did want to get this in before I could. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at eachperson7. Earthspeaker.net is where you can find all my work. If this sounds a little audio compromised as compared to other shows we do, as I said, I apologize for doing this on the road. But I had to get this in as soon as I could. And why is this guy driving so close to me? I don't know. Let me back out, please, and thank you very much. So, this want to touch on real quick. I want to touch on the on Halloween 2021. 2021. And also the Republicans, not cleaning house, but they did a very good job on the elections that were up for grabs this year. Governor's race in Virginia and Jersey and whatnot, and some other places of that nature. And then, of course, my early thoughts on NBA season so far. So Halloween this year for me was pretty fun. We actually, excuse me a second. We actually were able to, got to get some coworkers with our kids and went trick-or-treating. And I haven't done trick-or-treating with my kids like this, house to house, and I don't think ever, honestly. And Halloween for me has been complicated because of the fact that I grew up in a very Christian religious household. So Halloween for me was something we really did not celebrate much. I did in my early years, when I was like between ages 6 and 10. But once my mom became more religious, she decided that Halloween was a no-go. So we never celebrated Halloween. I didn't celebrate Halloween, and even when I got older, it wasn't really embedded in me that, hey, Halloween's not a big deal. It wasn't one of those holidays I really prioritized anyway. So it wasn't like, even if I did want to celebrate, I didn't really put much stock into it anyway. But then I became a dad 8 years ago, and I've obviously become a lot more open-minded to other things and open-minded to, okay, listen, it doesn't have to be this Halloween has to be this evil thing and bad thing. It could be a joyous thing too in a lot of ways too. It's what you make of it. So through the years, my wife and I, and her and I have both had very similar upbringings in terms of childhood, in terms of being in very, I would say, somewhat strict religious households, Christian households. That we decided to be a little more on the progressive side when it comes to this kind of stuff. So we would partake in Halloween. Now, we don't go as far as decorating the house and all that, but we would, we give play to the kids that come to the house, and, we'd obviously would take my kids out to, we wouldn't go house to house, but what we would do, there's a place in Delray Beach here. Well, every year they do on the avenue, they call it, where they do a trick-or-treat sections in like a 4-block radius where you can go to different businesses and they give out candy to the kids, and it's in the afternoon, and it's pretty simple, pretty nice and stuff. And we'd go there with my with my wife, the kids, and my mother-in-law comes sometimes and whatever, and we have a good time. And it was just like that. It was just left at that. It was more so just a way to get the kids out the house and to get candy and all that. It was never made a big deal. We never made Halloween a big deal. Really ever until recently. This year we decided to open it up, and a friend of mine, coworker of mine also, had asked me if I was interested in going trick-or-treating with a bunch of guys from work and taking our kids and all that, and I thought it was a great idea. It worked out fine because it was Sunday, and Sundays I'm off anyway, and it's like, okay, we'll do that. And then it ended up being even a bigger thing we thought. It was a great time, and we were able to get the kids out, and for a couple hours we walked around, got candy, and fellowship with some of the guys, and I saw some old friends of mine, old coworkers of mine that I haven't seen in about a year or two, and it was a really nice time. Obviously, I was a little tired, because I don't go out much anymore, so anything that's different from what I normally do day to day, it's a little shock on my body sometimes, and you had to walk, do all this walk we had to do, and my kid wanted me to hold him and all this stuff, and it was very much one of those things where we had to do it. We had a good time doing it, and it is what it is. Halloween, like I said, I don't look at it in the same way I used to. I look at it as another way to get together with family, get together with friends, get candy, and and the thing is, I'm not even a big candy guy anyway. I'm a guy that always, when I look at, I have one rule with my kids. I know this. When we go trick or treating, you can have all the candy you want, but the only thing I ask for is that you give me Kit Kats, you give me the Twix bars, you give me Crunch bars, and the Crackles. Anything with chocolate and wafers belongs to Dad. Everything else, Starbursts you can keep, lollipops you can keep, anything of that nature, you can keep that. That's fine. But the Kit Kat bars go to me. Anything chocolate with the wafers. Cigarette bars you can keep also too. I don't care for that. And it was good. We had a good time. We got home late. Real late, actually. Later, we got home about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. Past bedtime, kids' bedtime. We felt the next day, of course, my son overslept. Like I said, Halloween's not very typically on a Sunday anyway, so it's a little bit of a different way to deal with it. But like I said, we had a great time. And we'll hopefully do it again next year. And I actually prefer doing this over going on the Avenue, honestly, because it's actually you actually, there are people, especially and respect, and their kids and our kids, and they all know each other now. So it's kind of like almost as a clique was definitely something of the nature of, hey, it's cool. We vibing here. We all do the same thing, and it's a good time. I had a great time on Halloween. So hopefully next year, hopefully. And I'm really glad I've really opened up to the idea of Halloween now as an adult. Not everything has to be this, no, you can't do that thing. I think one of the things I've learned as I've become older, you can still have your beliefs, you can still have that, and know to balance it. I think extremes are a bad thing, no matter how you slice it, good or bad. Anyway, and at least now I've become more open to the idea of Halloween being something that could be a joyful thing, and I'm glad we've done that. So, anyway, as I was saying on the top of the show about, we had elections this year. Not midterms, midterms are next year, actually. But there were some elections this year. There's some gubernatorial races, some big mayor races across the country. Now, I've been speaking a lot on this in recent weeks about the optics of where we're at as politics. Now, Joe Biden took over for president of the United States in January, and it's been a really rough go for him so far. Dealing with COVID and dealing with getting this infrastructure bill through, and a couple of things. A lot of optics, a lot of bad optics too. That even Democrats who come on this podcast, Mark Francois, Zach Degenerate, we discussed this on the show a couple times, and give you Biden grades, and they both gave him D-. The only thing they graded him well on was the fact that he got out of Afghanistan, which I agree with, for the record. So a lot of the rhetoric now when it comes to Joe Biden and the Democratic Party and where we're at and how we look going to the midterms is that the Democrats right now are coming in trouble. And if this week's results is a telltale sign of what's to come, Democrats are in trouble. The Democrats already hold barely a one-seat lead in the Senate, and that's because of Kamala Harris being the vice president. But off the bat, you got two senators, Democratic senators, Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin, who are playing hardball, who are more moderate, centrist Democrats who aren't on board with the infrastructure bill that's being offered by the president. And I don't know where I stand on that, to be honest with you. I don't know what's in the bill, so I'm not going to sit and comment, liberally as though I know what's going on. So there's a lot of people who are pissed off at those two because of, they're preventing any progress. But their defense is that the spending, they're against frivolous spending, which I am too, for the record. But again, I don't know what's in the bill, so I don't know if what's in the bill is worth the spending. I don't know. But the point is that if we take the results, for example, in Virginia, where was it Youngsmith, whatever his name is, Youngkin, whatever his name is, won the governor's seat over McAuliffe, whatever his name is. I don't know his name, but I haven't been following the races till like the literally last minute. If what we saw on Tuesday night is a telltale of things to come, the Democrats are in trouble. And we may see a massacre of proportions similar to what we saw in 1994, where Bill Clinton took office in 93 and had a rough first year to heading to those midterms, and then the Democrats got shellacked in those midterms. So we could be heading for a disaster for Democrats in the next year. I said it. I told my friends and family who are Democrats themselves. I told them, listen, Democrats got their warning. They got their warning. You got 1 year to fix it, 1 year to change the messaging, 1 year to find ways to relate, or they're in trouble. I got into it with Jamel Hill yesterday. Jamel Hill, who I really respect. Don't agree with everything she says, but I do respect her candor. I do respect the fact that she's passionate about what she believes in. And she tweeted yesterday saying something to the effect of that it's not messaging, it's white supremacy. And to me, that tweet was tone deaf. This is the second time now I called Jamel Hill on this podcast. On tweet, she said that I'm very polarizing to the point where it's not productive, it's very divisive. You know, you can't say that, and then in Virginia, you have a lieutenant governor who's black and Jamaican win the seat. An attorney general that's Latin win the seat. It's tone deaf. It is a messaging problem. Barack Obama even said himself was a messaging problem. The whole defund the police thing. You know, part of the reason defund the police hasn't been a success yet is because no one knows what it means, and they allow Republicans to weaponize it. And until you can hold Democrats' feet to the fire and have an honest discussion about messaging, because let's face it, the people who don't follow politics in the way I do, or the way my buddy Mark and Zach does, or the way that Jamel Hill does, and the way that anyone that's into politics does, you know, you have to have a more clear and concise message. You have to sell the message. So defund the police sounds like you're saying and I know what defund the police means. I know it doesn't mean end the police or cut the police. I know what it means. It means allocating funds in the right way. But again, the people who don't pay attention are not gonna get that, and you need to sell them that message. And that message fell also in Minneapolis as well too. So my point is, it is a messaging problem. Like I said, Barack Obama said himself, they need to clean the messaging. How is it in Florida? And I'll say this again. In Florida, where we're becoming more progressive in policy, you know, we're moving closer to recreational marijuana. You know, we just raised minimum wage now, $50 an hour, which will be in 2026. Gambling now is going to be a thing now in Florida. Sports gambling, rather. And yet Democrats can't seem to get any footing in the state when it comes to local races, when it comes to gubernatorial races especially. We haven't had a Democrat as a governor in over 20 years, Lawton Childs. Because they don't have the right messaging. And even if the Republicans get it wrong, they are much better at getting their point across than the Democrats are. That's just a fact. It is a messaging problem. You know, don't give Democrats an out here. And this is why I was bothered by Jamel Hill's tweet. She's giving Democrats an out. So, and the New Jersey race also with Phil Murphy. So he barely won. But again, New Jersey is a heavy blue state. The fact that race is even close is a problem. And now, this, optically speaking, this looks bad for Democrats for 2022 and beyond. Let's keep it real. So, it is a messaging problem. They need to fix it. They got a year to do it, and history tells me they ain't going to do that. Because, you know what? At the end of the day, you can't rely on this saying, oh, I hate Donald Trump, fuck Donald Trump, this and that. That gets old. Trump is gone now. What are you doing to fix the mess? What are you doing to put out your message? That's why Andrew Yang left the party in the first place. So, but like I said, you know, you have a year to fix it, or you're screwed. All right, fine if I go. Like I said, it's a short, abbreviated podcast. I want to get these topics in because I don't have a chance to record in my studio. So the best way to do this right now is I have 20 minutes to record on my phone. And I'll do that real quick. NBA season now about a few weeks and some odd days in. It's been a fairly fascinating year. Most of the things have gone chalk. Nothing really stand out mostly. I mean, I'm as a diehard Miami Heat fan, I'm very proud of what they're doing. 6-1 right now, first in the Eastern Conference. Very proud. I'm going to the game on Saturday against Utah with my dad. It should be a fun game. I mean, the Chicago Bulls, obviously, with their fast start, has been impressive. The Knicks have been pretty decent out the gate. Like I said, I'm not getting ahead of myself yet in the East or with anything right now, because I think, obviously, you look at the scope of the conference right now, for example. Milwaukee's struggling a little bit out the gate, but they'll figure things out going forward. I expect them to figure things out. Brooklyn, of course, as long as they're healthy, they're probably the best team in the conference because they got KD and James Harden, and eventually they'll get Kyrie Irving back, I'm sure, at some point. Once the vaccination stuff clears up, we'll see. But it's been a fascinating year out the gate. Out west, the Lakers, of course, they're just the same. It's pretty simple to the Lakers. As long as they have AD healthy, they should be the favorites to win the West and probably a championship. It's that simple. If not, they're one and done, or it's 2 and done. Then, I mean, the really big fascinating thing in the West right now, I'm really, really invested in as we move on, is the Golden State Warriors, who also start off well. And they are supposed to get Klay Thompson back in the next month or two. So, and we saw footage of him yesterday on the court, not practicing, but taking shots on the court. Looks pretty good. Probably still a little more ways to go, get the rust off. If the Warriors can keep this up, and then they get Klay back in time, for the run, while being on top of the Western Conference, we got to race to the Golden State Warriors, because they like it or not, they got a good roster before you get the Klay. Now you get Klay back, oh my God, they're gonna be a problem. So it's been a fascinating year, start to the year. Like I said, we'll probably do some podcasts on the NBA as we move along. Get some of my media buddies on here, and talk about the NBA season. It won't be as often right now anyway, because the NFL right now is still going as we speak. But as we get to Christmas and the NFL starts to wind down, when they go to the playoffs, you'll hear a lot more NBA related podcasts with my friends and with people in the media and all that. So look out for that in the coming weeks and months. So anyway, that'll do it for now. I just want to get these couple of topics in on the Rebated Podcast. I'm on Twitter, of course, each7, Earnestly Podcast. Subscribe to all podcast catchers. If you like wrestling, of course, too, my wrestling podcast as well, Take 3 Wrestling. And until then, we will talk soon. And that's it. Talk to you guys later. God bless you all. See you.